the fulcrum cyclone build. We finally got to level 60. So we're using fulcrum now. So I'll show the setup we got going on. The only downside to this setup is it's very slow. It's not very tanky because we don't have many ways to stack armor or evasion. You only have 4 slots, and one of them's a ring slot. And the other 3 are armor slots. But I'll show what we got going on here. And I plan on doing like a block version. Block with armor. But mainly block chance. We don't have Garukins yet. A Garukin's Pantheon ability, which we need as soon as possible. Really, you shouldn't play the build until you have Garukin's Pantheon ability. But I just wanted to play the build as soon as possible, so that's why we're just running with it. But the reason you want Garukins is because it gives you 60% less effect of shock on your character. And if you pair that with a 30% less, 30% reduced effect of shock on you, that's 90%. So you don't need an Impulsa. You can just use that. And you don't have to rely on Impulsa, and you can use whatever chest plate you want. Body armor. You can use whatever body armor you want. And that's the strat I've been going with. The other strat is just to use Purity of Lighting, but then you're not going to be able to take advantage of elemental damage of hits as lucky while you are shocked. So I recommend you don't use Purity of Lightning, but if you can't get a 30% reduced effect of shock on you, Jewel, then you're probably better off just using Purity of Lighting at that point. It's up to you. You could just use Purity of Elements until you have all the gear needed, and then you'll be fine. But again, that's going to defeat the purpose of using Fulcrum to begin with. So right now I'm trying to stack resistances as much as possible. And I think I'm just going to beeline it to Garukins, which is in the next area, just so I can have that as soon as possible. Because I take a lot. You take a lot of damage with shock on you, and it's about 50% extra. With the 30%, it's about 35% extra damage. And then when you get Garukin's Pantheon ability, it'll be 5% extra damage you'll take, which is negligible. Not very much, so it's fine. At the moment, it is a lot. It's about 35% right now with the 30% reduced effect jewel. You can see it's doing a lot of damage. It's slow because we use Kaku Churoa's certainty for the unaffected by damaging ailments. Now the reason we use this is to negate ignites. Otherwise you need a Bound by Destiny jewel, I believe. Or was it Bound by Fate? No, it's Bound by Destiny. Yeah, you need one of these, but it needs to have uh, unaffected by ignites if you are wearing if two warlord items are equipped. And as you can see, there are none of those on the market. And even if there were, I wouldn't be able to afford it. And most of the people with that jewel are probably using it. That's probably why there's none on the market. So, unfortunate. But that's going to be an end goal, is getting one of those. Oh, and to get the life leech and the mana leech, we just wear this belt. So, let me go over the setup. There's a lot of uniques that go into this version of the build that you don't really need if you have the currency. But the uniques are Kahu Churoa's Certainty, Worm's Mold, Foulborn the Halcyon, and Winter Weave. And then, of course, Fulcrum. And the slots where you don't need uniques are body armor, helmet, one ring slot, and gloves. The rest need to be uniques for this setup. And then what else you need is Garukin's Pantheon ability, which we don't have right now, but you need that. And you need one jewel with at least 30% reduced effective shock on it. So you can get, with the jewel plus Garukin's Pantheon ability, you can get 90% reduced effective shock on you. The max you can get is 95% reduced. So I'm using Tabula Rasa because I couldn't find a good body armor that had the right slots. And I'm using Gold Rim because I couldn't find a helmet with enough resistance to cap my resistances. And then I'm just using this for the resistances and the dex. And if you're doing this setup, I recommend it specking into block on the tree. Blocking with staffs is going to help you a lot with your survivability. It's going to help you tremendously with your survivability. It's blocking with staffs is actually kind of underrated. If you're using a staff, I highly recommend you go for the blocking route. Go for the blocking route and try and get 80% to all res. So try and cap your res at 80 so you can get overcapped resistances. And that's about it. Now, like I said, I'm going to beeline into Garukin's Pantheon ability and kill Garukin so I can get the Pantheon ability as soon as possible. Should be up here somewhere. We're getting there. But yeah, that's the setup. Now, let me explain why we use these uniques. We use Fileborn and Halcyon for cannot be frozen. We use Winter Weave so we can't be chilled. We use Worm's Bolt for the Life Leech and the Mana Leech. Uh, we use Kahuturoa's Certainty so we can negate ignites with the unaffected by damaging ailments. And it also helps with bleeds, so that's really nice. But it makes you really fucking slow. Really slow. Because you can't get movement speed, and it gives you reduced movement speed. And then, of course, we use Fulcrum to take advantage of all these unaffections by elemental ailments. If you can get an Impulsa with the right socket colors, or get a Fulcrum with the right socket colors, and then get an Impulsa, if you can't, just use any chest plate with the right socket colors and as much armor as you can possibly get. I recommend going for armor because we're going to be blocking spell damage anyways. So go for armor, don't go for evasion. You can go for evasion too, though. It's kind of up to you. Go for evasion or armor. It's up to you. Go for evasion or armor on the gloves. Go for evasion or armor on the chest plate. Go for evasion or armor on the helmet. And then for the ring, you just want to cap your reses. But you want to have resistance on arguably everything. If you can do both evasion and armor rating, that'll be even better. That'll be leagues better than what I'm doing. My set that I'm doing is very, very underpowered. Very squishy. Because I don't have any armor or evasion, really. The auras I'm using are Herald of Ice, Precision, Elemental Weakness Aura, and I'm using Flesh and Stone for the increased area of effect, not for the damage, but for the increased area of effect. Or is it Blood and Sand? It's Blood and Sand, my bad. I'm using Blood and Sand for the increased area of effect. I recommend you get Flesh and Stone for the decreased damage taken, so you can be a lot tankier. In fact, I'm probably going to switch Blood and Sand out for Flesh and Stone, like right now. So, very soon, actually. Not right now, but very soon. I'm going to switch that out. I don't need the increased area of effect or the increased damage. They're very low numbers. They don't help that much. So you're better off just using Flesh and Stone and not using Blood and Sand. Alright, let me just check real quick to see if this is where we need to go. I don't think so. Oh, it is actually. So I'm just skipping everything that isn't Garukin's for now. I'm going to go back and do all of it. Yeah. Oh, in the tree, you want to go for crit with staffs, damage with staffs, armor or evasion, whichever one you're doing. What else? Oh, blocking spell damage with staffs. If you could spec into blocking attack damage with staffs too, that would be good. It's up to you. 100% up to you. Whatever you can, whatever you find yourself being able to spec into in the tree. I recommend just going for your own tree though. Don't follow a guide, because all the guides seem to kind of be like leaning towards damage for the most part, and you don't want to lean too much toward You want to lean towards damage. Don't get me wrong. You want to do damage. You want to do a lot of damage. But you also want to get your resistances and everything, and your armor rating, and your evasion rating, and your block chance. You want to get all that up too. So you want to get a mixture of damage with everything else. And for the most part, the guides don't really show nodes with like block change or anything. They just kind of show damage, and that's it. Now, unfortunately, I won't be playing any Ascendancy with this build because it's Pre-Shield League, and I'm trying to, for the most part, I'm trying to do the Elementalist Ascendancy, and we can't. Obviously, I can't do that because that's not here. You know, probably gonna die a lot actually for this boss. I had to guess. Yeah. Yeah, this bitch. Whew. Tornadoes and shit, bro. Ouch. You. Alright. So now we're going to take a lot less damage because of the new Pantheon ability we have. See, 60% reduced effective shock on you. You want to take that. And with the Jewel, like I said, you have 90% reduced effective shock on you. So you should be taking a lot less damage now. The build's basically practically done. It's ready for early maps. Now we just got to finish the campaign, and we'll be ready for early maps. Tiers 1 through 5, for the most part. Probably even yellow maps, like lower level yellow maps. But you'll notice I won't be taking as much damage when I get hit, because I'm still shocked. It just has a 90% less effect on me. So it only does I only take like 5% damage, 5% extra damage. See, I can take a lot more hits. Before I was like getting chunked down way more.
I choose.
Execute this guy. Execute this guy. Interrogate this guy. Fuck out of here. Yo, those actually might be good. Hold on. That's ass. Fuck, goddamn it. Just use this real quick. And move this here. And pick those up real quick. But those might actually be decent. Okay, there we go. And that's it for the guide. That's it for the video, I guess. I don't know why I didn't have precision on. Yeah. That's that.